Trent Cotney and John Kenney are dedicated to helping the construction industry with legal business and safety challenges. Welcome to this week's episode of Law and Mortar.
Hi, this is Trent Cotney. I'd like to welcome everybody to another episode of Law and Mortar. As always, I've got John Kenney with me. John, how are you doing?
Doing great. Glad to be here today.
Yeah, we've got a lot to discuss as usual. A lot of very active legislation has been happening, and some contractors may have missed some of these key things. One of the first things that I kind of want to talk about, John, is there was a recent, it's called the Forced Labor Protection Act, and it's based on, you guys might have heard this in the news. There's a region of China, the Uyghur region, where they are targeting these people. I believe they're Muslim origin or something along those lines, where they are forcing them into camps, and it's the equivalent of slave labor. The U.S. has put out this act to prevent companies from shipping over products that were made in that region. And here's the key part, or components of products that were made in that region. So most of it deals with clothing and electronics and textiles, but guess what's included? Silica. So yes, it affects clay tile, it affects mortar, cement, a lot of other things that contain silica. And we are concerned, I guess, that this is going to impact the supply chain even further. We recently put out a white paper on it, kind of discussing all those issues. If anybody's interested, I'm happy to kind of send it your way. But John, what are your thoughts on that? I think the last thing we need is more impact on the supply chain. But what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it's we're definitely in uncharted water right now. And you're correct. China, no matter how we want to look at them from a political standpoint, non-political standpoint, whatever it is, they're a huge player in the marketplace. And when you not that I'm saying you want to have somebody doing the wrong thing. I get all that. But yeah, I don't know how much more we could take as a world. This is not even a U.S. issue anymore. I know we focus on a lot of our own problems, which we should. But when you look at this on a bigger scale, you talk about being off the axis. This world is off its axis big time right now. So I think it is going to have a major effect and extend it out even further.
Yeah, I think so. And it's key thing is for anybody listening, just make sure that you're prepared and that we've talked in past podcasts about the importance of, making sure that you're operationally safe, making sure that you are watching your accounts receivable, that you're doing whatever you can to just have an efficient business, because it's very uncertain. I look at the market volatility, the stock market, and if that's any indication, that along with inflation, I'm not sure what's to come. But another thing that kind of hit the news today actually was the infrastructure plan. There's a big announcement. This has been in the works for a long time, but one of the biggest problems that we've seen lately is with air travel and air freight. It's been a big issue over the 4th of July holiday. 2,000 plus flights were canceled. I know I'm about to fly up to Chicago, so I'm a little concerned myself if I'm going to make that flight. But so part of this infrastructure bill was a significant amount of money that was going to go towards improvements of airports. So you can anticipate that our contractors that are listening to this, there's going to be more airport work available, expansions of terminals, runways, etc. But there's always a catch, John. And the catch is that with this federal work, there's going to be Davis-Bacon wage requirements. There's going to be E-Verify. There's going to be a bigger push towards prevailing wage and union type work. But could be some opportunities out there for contractors. So, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think it's great. I mean, we need it. Infrastructure is horrible. I'm the same way flying now. You dread when you have to get a connecting flight, because you can pretty much guarantee you're only going to make it to the connecting airport and you're going to sit there. So, and the direct flights are getting harder and harder to get. They're cutting back on the amount of them. So yeah, we need some improvements, but like anything else, the biggest part of this is we still don't have shovels in the ground, right? So by the time this starts and by the time you actually see any kind of relief, what are we talking? 3, 5, 10 years? I don't know, probably 10. So it should be interesting how it all plays out. But I think contractors will look, it is what it is. Prevailing wage, Davis Bacon. I know I worked with it on the other side. I've worked union. I've done it all. I don't think that should be a deterrent. I think that's just, you got to remember, you got to pay it. If you can get your bids, bid it right, and go get some work. I think that's the important thing. Get to work and get it done.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's kind of interesting because I'm scratching my head as well, because it's great that we got more work, but do we have the talent and the skilled labor to do it? And I know you and I were talking, a lot of your customers are complaining about lack of skilled labor. What do you recommend as far as looking for talent and kind of dealing with that issue?
Well, again, I heard a comment. I'm not even going to get into who I heard it from in the government. When I get into politics, I was saying, well, once the American people are done with collecting all the, stimulus money checks, that the labor problem will take care of itself, especially in construction. And I'm like, oh my gosh, there's nothing further from the truth than that. No one's lining up to get into construction. And if you happen to be somebody laying on the couch, the last thing you're going to want to do is jump up and jump into construction. So I personally don't think there's that many people left laying on the couch. I think people have disappeared in the gig economy. You can sell on eBay, you can sell on Etsy, all the different sites. I think people have become more entrepreneurial, and they're doing that with second jobs. That being said, taking it all out of there, I also don't see the high school children coming out of high school and jumping into construction, because I think we missed the boat on that. I think we're doing a better job as a construction industry starting to make that happen, but I think that's probably a generation away from seeing effects. So the problem is, where are we really at? We're in a rotating cycle of the same amount of people jumping from one industry to another industry because there's no one else. And that's what I'm seeing with my clients. They're losing, not people going to other roofing contractors per se. They're going to other industries within construction because they're maybe making more money. So bottom line is, I hate to say this, folks, we're going to pay more for the talent that is out there. And, you're going to have to put some really serious in-house training. And unfortunately, or fortunately, however you want to look at it, you're going to have to spend money hiring people and training them yourselves. Now, that's easier said than done, but there's not going to be any national training program out there that is going to flood our industry. It's just not going to happen. But the one thing I'll add, Trent, before I kick it back over, it's not only at the skilled labor. We're starting to see a flux of people leaving in estimating field, operational field. Not that it didn't happen, but it's happening at a greater rate. Safety, people are chasing the almighty dollar right now because they know they can. So, there's a lot of things you need to stay on top of, not only recruitment, but you really got to stay on top of your retainage policy within your companies.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's some sage advice. It's a tough market out there. And one of the things contractors are going to have to continue to do is try to appeal to the next generation, through technology, through opportunity, through advancement, whatever it might be. The old ways of recruiting don't work anymore, right? No. You got to mix it up, and you got to be able to show a something that's valuable right now. What can they do right now that is going to be of value? Charting out their future and everything else is great, and that may win some over, but really, in a time where we're used to having instantaneous gratification, you got to be able to show how can this impact somebody's life immediately. And that's usually through technology, or the ability to plan or design or be creative or something along those lines. So, John, we talked about a lot of different things, but now I know what is your favorite time. We have a ton of we got a ton of backlog questions, but we got one here recently. Let's see if I can find it, that I thought was timely. So I'm going to skip ahead of some people. So I apologize if we're doing that, but I think this one is worth it. This one is from Mike. Mike has never gone to an FRSA trade show and knows that FRSA's 100th anniversary expo in Daytona is a couple of weeks away, and wants to know what recommendations do we have for a first-time person going to the FRSA expo. So, John, I'll let you start, and then I'll I'll take
Well,
it.
I think if this is your first time expo, Mike, you probably couldn't have picked a better one. There should be an amazing amount of special things going on. I think you're going to see a lot of pride in the industry because it's a 100-year celebration. First time, tips, plan your day out. There's a lot of things going on. The educational seminars are in the morning. Then you've got your trade show following up after that. What I always find effective, I don't know if you're going with anybody or you're going alone. If you're going with somebody, put a plan together, pair up, and even if you're alone, go see who you want to see first on the first day, and go back the second day for what you missed. And if this is three days now, this is a special one this year. You have 3 full days. You can always use your Friday to go back and talk to people that you have interest in. But there's a ton of education. First time, take advantage of that. Get some of that education and seminars in the morning. And what I really recommend is have a good time. It should be really good over there with the being the 100th.
Yeah, the FRSA Expo is huge, so really recommend that you go and you do a little bit of pre-planning. Definitely go to the welcome reception at the start. I think that's worth going to. A lot of great luncheons. There's a history luncheon, I think, on Wednesday, business luncheon on Thursday, and then they've got the big dinner and installation for the new officers Thursday night. I know, John, you and I are speaking a bunch throughout the entire time, so stop by and say hi to us there, and then we'll be out on the trade show floor. I think our booth is 8:30, so feel free to stop by. John, I know you'll be out there on the trade show's floor as well.
I'll be on the Java booth if anybody wants to come catch me there. So looking forward to it. And I would say to our listeners, then this question from Mike, please say hello to us. There's nothing Trent and I enjoy more than catching up with you all over at these trade shows.
Yeah, and it's definitely great to be able to see people, and especially the loyal listeners that listen to the podcast. So yeah, stop by, say hi. We look forward to seeing you guys there. John, I think we've wrapped it up for this week. Stay tuned next week for another episode of Law and Mortar. If you got any questions for me, feel free to reach out. I'm Trent Cotney. You can reach me at trent.cotney@arlaw.com. John, how can they get you?
They get me at Kenney at cotneyconsulting.com.
Great. All right. Thank you, guys. We'll see you next week.
Take care now.